G'day, how are you? I hope that everyone is well who is watching this and who will watch this in the future. Um, it's weird that, isn't it, thinking that like the stuff that we put out there into the internet and the ether is like there. It's kind of not related, but it is. I started blogging about my transition 9 years ago. So as soon as I made the decision to transition, if you don't know, hi Sharon, hi love. I started blogging about my decision and my journey and what I was going through, etc. And I actually I blogged a lot in the first few years, but like if you ever fancy going and checking out Tim, are you watching it on your phone or on a iPad? Because you need to be watching it on your phone, otherwise I can't invite you to join me. Ah, here he is. Right. Yeah, if you're ever interested in what my journey's been like. Haven't done as many in the last few years, but yeah, it's all there. It's all on the internet.
Oh, there we are.
Hello, young man. How are you? Right, just set it up.
There we are. The wonders of modern technology.
Happy days. I was just saying there, it's weird, isn't it? Like how, I suppose it's not the same, but it kind of is. Like you do something as a human, you put it out there, and then you kind of forget it's out there, but it's still out there. Like I said, that with songwriters and stuff, I suppose. Like once something's out there, it remains out there, and you never know how people are going to connect with it or, take solace from it, or yeah, just weird, isn't it? Weird concept.
Yeah, we're straight into the deep stuff.
Always Tim with me, always. Well, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
I can't remember who said it, but I remember someone saying that you put your heart and soul into your sort of creative product or whatever you make, and then once you send it out into the world, it's no longer yours. It belongs to the universe. So you kind of, but I know what you mean. It's kind of, as soon as you put it out, you get that huge anxiety, don't you, about, will it come across right and all that sort of thing. As much as you try and tell yourself that you don't care what other people think, it's difficult when you've put your heart and soul into something.
I think it is, but also like once it's there, it's like, well, you can delete it, I suppose, or like unrelease it. But yeah, I don't know. Especially as someone who's got a lot of experience talking to camera over the last 9 years, it just, I don't know. It feels a lot like therapy. That's why I love doing these chats, to be honest with you. Is it like that when you write a song?
I'm doing the therapist thing now, where I leave a pause and you have to fill.
You are. I mean, it isn't my bloody therapy session.
Yeah.
Neither is it yours, but you know what I mean. It's like it's weird, isn't it?
Tell me what therapy means to you.
What does therapy mean to me?
Yeah, that's what they do, isn't it?
Oh, how long have you got?
Oh dear. No, thanks very much for inviting me on. It's very kind of you.
You're very welcome. I'll tell you what, you have great. You never share like something that you're listening to on Instagram, and I'll think, oh, that's shit. But you have great taste in music.
There's still time. I'm also a huge Eurovision fan, so it's not all great stuff.
Do you know what? I know this is like blasphemy as a queer person. I think Eurovision's shit. It's like.
Well, I shall take, as a straight guy, I'll take that on for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. There you go.
I'll take one for the team as a honorary.
Nice one.
Actually, I mean, this is a very personal question to ask you straight away, but I am really confused by the whole queer the terminology.
Okay.
Because is it kind of like, and I don't want you to feel like you're a spokesman for an entire group of people, but
I can only give you my view on the on it.
Is it kind of like taking back ownership of a once negative term and making it your own, or how does it work? I want to learn really.
It's really fascinating, isn't it? Because like everything, language evolves, identities evolve, and certainly since the birth of the internet, people are more able to label themselves and find something that fits how they feel about their identity, whether it's gender or sexual.
Yeah.
I think if you look back at like the early Pride marches and stuff, like I don't know if they did this in the UK Pride marches, but I remember seeing stuff. I mean, I'm saying like from this, I think from the 80s, like in America, they were shouting, "We're here, we're queer, get used to it." So like
Yeah.
it's a terminology that the community has always used. Of course, you know, when people used to go out gay bashing and stuff, like in the, you know, when I think AIDS didn't help the gay community with the Tory government in Section 28 and everything else. So people used to go out and they used to call it queer bashing. It kind of gained a negative connotation then. But I
Yeah.
think you're right. I think that the young LGBT community have taken the word back and like are using it and kind of reclaiming it. But the Q in LGBTQIA plus can mean queer, as in gender queer or questioning.
Okay.
Um, I, I think it's a great reclamation of a word. I mean, to be honest with you, Tim, I prefer the term queer anyway because it's more all-encompassing. It's none of this. Well, I'm this, that, or that. Like queer is I think my own view is it's an umbrella term for the community.
Okay.
And yes, it can be used as a precursor to prejudice, but like I think when the community uses it themselves to identify themselves, their culture, their language, whatever that is that they're identifying with when they're using it, I think it's an emboldening and an empowering word, or it can be. Yeah, you never get a short answer with me. You'll learn that.
No, that's good. No, I'm learning. So I thank you
No,
for
no
teaching me.
worries.
Really.
So how you kind of perceived it?
Yeah. Well, I just kind of perceived it as similar to what you said. Really, that it was reclaiming a word that had negative connotations, and also sort of people who weren't not sure is not the right way, but you know, like almost like the gender fluid thing of, you know, not being 100% one way or the other, whatever the terminology is. But yeah, I have a lot to learn, so thank you.
It's all right. I think we all do. I treat every day as a school day. I don't think I know every day. I will. It's the same with music. Like, it's funny, isn't it? Because some people become entrenched in a specific genre, or they won't listen past, say, 1996. You get the kind of the very vocal and kind of Oasis fans, or like the Stone Roses fans. That's all they listen to, and they won't listen to anything else. And it's like there's so much better music out there. I mean, I loved Oasis. Don't get me wrong, but like there's been many great bands since those bands, and I just think that, you know, if people open their eyes and were like more accepting of new stuff from a musical point of view.
People put up these walls that don't need to be there, like especially with music. I used to be a bit of a music snob, really, and I think I've sort of since learned that music's about, you know, bringing down walls rather than putting them up, and it's just about what connects with you. I mean, I personally can't stand Oasis, so I'll tell you why in a bit if you want. But if it connects with you and emotionally, then I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Even if it's, you know, something I wouldn't particularly like, Justin Bieber or something like that. But yeah, whatever connects with you.
We'll have a band.
Are you a true believer?
No. I don't get it. I'm not going to call it like a name because that's not very kind. But like, no, I just don't get it. I mean, yeah. Another band that I don't get is Nickelback. Like, I hate. You know, they're one of the bands. If they, I'll turn the station or I'll turn it off. I just, So yeah, it's funny how like certain musicians or bands just don't connect with us at all, and we actually don't, you know, really want to listen to them. But I'm learning more and more so as time goes on, and like, you know, doing the job that I do outside my day job. I mean, although I don't get paid for it, you know, about writing about music and reviewing it and stuff. Like, I just think it's really good to just have an open mind. What was interesting when when Little Mix won Best British Band at the Brits a few weeks ago, they were getting slated on socials, and I was like, do you know what? I know a few of their songs, but like that one about their ex. But like I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go back and listen to the back catalogue. They're fucking amazing. Like
Yeah,
so many.
it's well constructed stuff. Definitely, it's well constructed. I have a lot of respect for well constructed pop. Definitely, I'm a
Mm,
huge ABBA fan. I think they're incredible, and um, I think one of the most underrated is Vince Clarke from Erasure, Yazoo, Depeche Mode. Because he writes on a synthesizer, I think people don't realise just what a great songwriter he is. I think
mm.
it's kind of taken people to do covers of him to realise that.
Yeah, he's great. I was looking up to see Erasure
Oh
many
yeah, when
moons
did you see
ago.
him?
I saw them at Ipswich Regent because this was pre-transition, so I went there with my ex-wife. Um, and yeah, we were like 2 rows from the front. It was fucking amazing. Just like
Yeah,
watching Andy Bell just being
yeah,
campus tits.
he's
Like it was
amazing.
brilliant. Like loved
Yeah,
them.
I
Absolutely
went to
loved them
see him at
live.
I went to see him at the Apollo in Manchester, and they just blew the roof off. They're amazing, really good.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, going back to the Oasis thing, I think it when I was growing up, I was very much felt different and not like my peers. Certainly not like my gender. You know, all the sort of things you got to live up to as a man, you know.
Bad. Yeah.
And I think I was bullied a lot at school, and I kind of put Oasis into that bracket of the kind of bullies that I got into music to get away from.
Mm.
So I think I had a hard time with them. I think since I've grown to like Noel's humour, his sort of dry wit and his very Mancunian dry wit. But yeah, Liam, I could take or leave definitely. But yeah, I was when I discovered people like Bowie and stuff as first as a kid, watching Labyrinth, one of my favourite films ever, and then after that, sort of as a teenager, getting into his Ziggy Stardust thing, and just realising that you didn't have to fit into that one very toxic
Mm.
box. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So it was very liberating,
That's
definitely.
so cool. A T-Rex as well from that era. Like he
Oh
just
yeah,
he doesn't get enough credence
yeah,
a lot of the time.
and Roxy
Like,
Music as well. I'm a huge Roxy
sorry.
Music fan. Roxy Music over the last few
Okay.
years, I've really got into their stuff. I used to think Brian Ferry was like a bit of a torch singer and not particularly interesting. And once I realised he wrote all the music and he wasn't just the singer at the front, I really started to delve into their stuff, and it's fascinating.
Oh, cool. Cool. So,
Really
right,
worth
we've done
listening
a little
to.
bit of discussion around music and stuff. How are you feeling today, Tim?
How am I feeling?
Mhm.
Okay. I think, yeah, everybody sort of laughs and says okay at the moment because I don't think anyone's okay, are they? But we're getting by.
I think it's been weird, isn't it? Because like it feels like we're coming out of lockdown, but I don't know. How do you feel about coming out of lockdown? I know it's a big
um,
question, but
yeah, I think we need to be patient with ourselves because if you think about it, rightly or wrongly, we've had this kind of drip-fed fear
mm,
for the last 18 months, and just to kind of try and banish all of that straight away. Um,
mm,
you know, it took us a long time to get used to lockdown. It's going to take us a long time to get back to normal, I think, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And we need to kind of be patient with ourselves, but it's difficult. Um,
mm,
I mean, in one way, because both my stepkids are disabled, and if if you're a special needs parent, you can sometimes feel quite isolated and quarantined
right.
anyway. So I think that helped us in the beginning because it wasn't too much of a change for us. But I think coming out the other side where we're kind of staying the same and other people are, you know, flourishing, it can feel a bit like you're missing out or whatever. But yeah, I'm enjoying it makes you enjoy the little things, doesn't it, a bit more, I think.
I think so. I think I've certainly got an appreciation for the things that I perhaps took for granted, like live music gigs.
Yeah.
Just being able to go into Manchester and like not be afraid. I still haven't been into Manchester. Part of me is a bit scared too, to be honest with you. All that.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do you feel about going back to live gigs? So you're quite scared, you're saying?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I know some of the festivals have started cancelling, haven't they? Already till next year. There's a pilot event going ahead, isn't there, in the end of June? Is it Pilot Download are doing a pilot festival, aren't they? With like 18,000 or something without any masks or anything, and that's
All
towards the
right.
end of June. I mean, I
I
bought
know
a ticket for Why Not.
going back to the Brit Awards thing, that was the first as well, wasn't it? That was it the O2?
Yeah, yeah,
The first live, and
yeah.
that was a bit of an experiment, but it looks like it turned out okay. I think I can't remember the statistics, but I think it was only about 3 people out of all of those got tested positive. So
I mean,
it seems to have gone well. It's one of those, isn't it? It's a balance act between our liberties and our safety, isn't it? It's a tricky thing to get your head around.
I think so, and I think one thing that COVID has done is it's caused division, and like people like in full-on battles on social media about vaccines and
Yeah,
whether COVID's a hoax and all this, and it's incredible how like conspiracy theories have thrived. It's quite scary,
yeah,
to be honest with you.
it is. I'm all for. I quite like the odd conspiracy theory, JFK, and all that sort of thing. But I do think there's a lot of things worth getting more upset about, like the way
Mm.
the government's treated us over the last 10 years, for example. You know, and people saying, "Oh, we're being spied on." You know, we're being spied on now on our phones, no doubt.
I mean, yeah, you have a tracking device in your phone. It's called GPS. Like,
Yeah,
if you use Google Maps and have your location services turned on in apps
yeah,
and share your data on apps, you're being tracked.
yeah. It's a shame. I think there's a lot of people who don't know how to feel, which is understandable, and they're putting it into all the sort of the wrong areas and
Mm.
putting all their paranoia into the wrong areas. And I think sometimes as well, if you have that kind of brain anyway, where like myself, where you're quite anxious and quite open to things like conspiracies, I think it's just like amplified
Mm.
people's faults. I think this corona, hasn't it? You know, I'm not great at socializing, and it's just like poured a load of social anxiety on what was already difficult. So it's like
Really?
it's amplifying, isn't it? Everything that's
Yeah, yeah.
wrong with us, because it's not normal what we're going through at the moment. It's not humanly natural what we're
I mean,
experiencing.
from an evolutionary point of view, we're social animals. And, I've said this on many of the episodes. I don't know if you've watched any of them, and if you haven't, that's cool. Don't worry about it. But, like, they use solitary confinement as a punishment in prison. It's the worst type of punishment. It's a punishment on top of a punishment. So for a lot of people who are, in effect, in solitary confinement, like, it's what they do to prisoners to punish
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Like, I don't think that people are perhaps aware of that or practicing the self-love and patience they need to. Like you were saying just at the beginning there, we're all coming out of this and we need to be kind to ourselves.
yeah, yeah. I do like your the sort of quote photos you put on your stories and stuff. They're always quite inspirational.
Thank you. I mean, I look back at like when I first transitioned and I was trying to do positive quotes all the time, like on my own personal Facebook, and I've looked back now and I'm cringing a bit. So maybe I will cringe at these posts in a few years, but like I've tried to marry the two loves. Like I want to inspire people to be a bit kinder to themselves or others, or to not beat themselves up so much. If I can do it using a musician's words, and that can resonate with people who are a fan of that musician or fan of music, then I think it's quite clever in doing that. I
Yeah,
don't see anyone else doing it. Maybe someone will at some point, but like, yeah, it inspires me because, all right, you see one quote, but like I've read through loads of quotes that this person has said to come up
yeah,
with one that I think, all right, I think that one's going to have the biggest resonance. And like, honestly, some days I'll share one and it'll get like 1 or 2. I don't know if it likes. I do it because I enjoy doing it. Because if you do it because you enjoy doing it and because it connects with
yeah,
something in you, then that's reward enough. But like I shared one with Gwen Stefani, and it like had loads and loads of shares, like thousands and thousands of views on Twitter, and it's like it didn't really make any sense why, but yeah, it's
She's got
strange.
quite a broad appeal, I suppose. There's probably quite a lot of Stefani fans out there.
God, yeah. I mean, what are you
But,
waiting for on that age? Like, she's a phenomenal artist,
yeah, definitely. An incredible singer.
no
Um,
doubt. See what I did there?
no doubt. Look, just don't speak, all right? Don't speak.
All right, yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Enough of that. I'm still going to drive people away.
Uh, yeah, talking about cringing about past statuses. You have, I don't know if you've got Time Hop. It's like an app that I use that it basically brings together all your Facebook, Instagram, everything from years gone by. It's like your
Oh, I
memories
didn't
on
realize I did
Facebook.
all of them. I don't know. I just use Facebook memories
Yeah,
sometimes.
but looking back on that, some of the stuff I used to put on Facebook, and you just think, oh my god. It's just, especially back in the times when, I don't know if you remember Facebook, when it used to be in third person. So it'd say Tim is in your status and you had to fill it in. So it's like, Tim is feeling really, is having a really difficult day today, ... And it's exactly the sort of thing that I hate when other people do now, you know, like when it's vague booking or whatever. You know, I PM'd you, hun, all that sort of thing.
When I check into a hospital and don't put
Yeah.
why, it's like, fuck, you know.
Yeah. There was quite a good meme on that actually. Of they had a Facebook A&E where they had these paramedics just saying "You okay, hon?" and passing them likes, and it's quite funny.
Doing
But
the
yeah,
care emoji.
what have you got coming up musically? Cool. I know you've been practicing your bass a lot, which is sounding great.
I have, thank you. Yeah, I mean, what, like from a gig point of view or from
Just like your projects and stuff. What have you got coming up at the
projects?
moment?
Well, I'm kind of in the very embryonic stages of starting a band.
Oh, yeah.
My friend's a singer-songwriter, and she's got a fucking phenomenal voice. But she just lost her stepmom to cancer a few weeks ago, so like, you know, I'm giving her the space to go through that, and like she's with her dad and stuff at the moment. Um, but yeah, we've literally only had one rehearsal, but she just she doesn't really like hasn't felt comfortable with a bass player before. And I said to her, right, I'll sit here and I'll look away from you. You play over there, and I'll just join in. And like I just closed my eyes and I just started playing like along to the song that she was playing. And then when I looked over, she had her eyes closed as well. It was weird because like it was that much of a vibe. And we played a few more songs. It was really good. So
Yeah.
we were going to have another rehearsal, and then her stepmom like got more ill quite quickly. And then unfortunately she did pass away. But over the next 2 weeks we're going to get back together and have a few more rehearsals. But she's got an opportunity to play a festival in. This is a big reveal. I've not told anyone else. So like she's got an opportunity to play a festival in Lincolnshire. In the summer, like later on in the summer, and she said, "Do you want to play?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." So
Brilliant.
I'll be
Better
playing
get
my first
rehearsing.
fest. Well, I practice most days.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a what I've never. I'm a frustrated guitarist. I've had a guitar for like 20 odd years, and I've never picked it up enough to get good at it. But I don't know what it is. There's something clicked with the bass. I think I've got a natural rhythm or inbuilt like rhythm and ear anyway. So like a lot of the songs that I pick up now, there's no tab. I just listen,
Yeah.
and I can
That's
pick
how
up
I
the bass
play.
line and then
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
I definitely play by listening. I'm no good at tabs and scores and things like that. But yeah, I'd say I'm a frustrated bassist really, because I started off as a guitarist, but I've really fallen in love with the bass in the last. I mean, I've played it for a long time, but I've only played it in a band for the last sort of 5 years or so. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Everything all right?
My back.
Yes, you are.
I've gone. Can you hear me? Every time here we are. Every time there's a notification, I just seem to go off. Have I gone blank? Because I seem
No.
to. No. Oh, that's all right then. I can't see myself, but that's probably a good thing. Yeah. So I really enjoy playing bass. It's a weird instrument because you start off thinking of it as being just underneath the rest of the band members, but it's so much more than that. It almost is like the cement in the bricks between the drummer and the melody. So I mean, certainly the way I play, I'm quite melodic in the way I play, and
Yeah.
it's finding all the notes that the rest of them aren't playing and kind of building it up. It's a fascinating instrument, the bass. I really enjoy playing it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I've never, it sounds weird, I've never loved an instrument before, but I love it. I fantasize about playing it when I'm not playing it. It almost feels meditative when I'm playing it. I can literally be playing it and like 2.5 hours have gone, and I'm like, where the fucking hell's the time gone?
Yeah.
And
That's a good sign.
And it's actually weird, but like I enjoy doing like arpeggios and like pentatonic scales and stuff, like and like playing alternate scale patterns and stuff. Just
Yeah.
I'm trying to lay the foundations of a player, like knowing how to play, different riffs in different ways. So, because I think it'll help me when I'm in a band eventually and like do start playing. But
who kind of inspires you in your bass playing? Who's your favorite bass players?
good question. I love Cliff Burton. I'm a big Metallica fan.
Oh, yeah.
Like Cliff Burton was a fucking phenomenal player, like unbelievable. And like to that extent, Jason Newsted and Rob Trujillo, like obviously the Metallica thing's there, but like Rob Trujillo as well, he's mental. Like Clayton, the guy from, you know who I mean? I can't think of his surname. He's mental.
What band is it?
I can't think. Oh, he's called Clayton. He does like slapping and all sorts of stuff. He's in that mad band. I'm going to get like told off on my bass tutor now. Stevie Wonder's bassist as well. He was absolutely incredible. I mean, Sergio, what a bass line.
Oh, yeah. Incredible. Yeah, when I learned how to play bass, it was all by ear, and it was trying to work out two different CDs, actually. It was Madness, who have the best bass lines. If you listen to the bass lines of Madness, they're just incredible. I can't even remember the name of the guy, but he's so underrated. And like my dad had a Motown CD, so I used to play along with that. So a lot of the stuff by the Funk Brothers and the Stax and Motown and all that kind of really, again, quite melodic bass, isn't it? That keep really fascinating stuff. I'm not so much into. I'm not very good at the sort of Larry Graham funk bass. I'm not very good at that kind of thing. I'm much more melodic, I think.
I think Sting as well. Like if you listen to like the Police songs, like "Walking on the Moon," I love playing that. Such a great. The guy who was the bass player in Cream as well, like his stuff. Obviously, John Paul Jones, another fucking incredible bass player.
Yeah.
Have you been trying to learn?
Do you listen to the them Crooked Vultures?
I have got it. Yeah. But I have. It's interesting you say that. I've got the album, but I haven't gone. It's on my CDs, so like it's in a box in a cupboard somewhere. But I need to go back and listen. Actually, thanks for reminding me.
That's a great album. That's John Paul Jones, isn't it? On that, as kind of
it is.
Yeah.
And like Michael Inez as well. I don't know if you'll know him, but he was in Alice in Chains, and he used to tour with Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh yeah.
So I've seen him play with Ozzy Osbourne twice. Like what a bass player! Like the Ozzy Osbourne No More Tears album, I think, is probably his last great. Like it's all killer, no filler. After then, I think.
I only really know his sort of Crazy Train stuff, and I'm a big Sabbath fan, but I haven't listened to much of his solo stuff.
I think it's about 92, 94.
Okay, so before the whole Sharon.
Yeah, before the Osbournes. People will like slate me and say, "Oh, Mr. Crowley" and all that stuff, but not Mr. Crowley. Perry Mason, which was released after that. I mean, it's okay, but like I think Ozzy at his greatest with his good voice and like every song is just amazing. But there's the song "No More Tears," the title track, the bass on that, like the intro, just like gives you goosebumps, man. It's like, whoo.
Yeah, Yeah, well, I mean, in Sabbath as well, Bill Ward
Oh
is
yeah, cool.
it's no, it's sorry, Geezer
He's
Butler.
Butler.
I always get Geezer Butler and Bill Ward mixed up. They all look like they should be brothers, even though they're not. But yeah, Geezer Butler is just brilliant. And again, someone that can do the heavy rocking stuff, but also the more melodic stuff like Caravan and Planet Caravan and stuff like that. So yeah, and I think he wrote quite a few of the riffs, didn't he? Obviously, Tony Iommi came up with a lot of them as well. But yeah, great bands, definitely.
They are. I think it's good to try and learn a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
Like the grunge era stuff as well. There's some great tracks in there. I mean, Kurt, not Kurt. Fucking. Oh, what's the bloody bass player's name?
Chris Novoselic.
Chris Novoselic. Thank you.
Yeah.
I could say the K, but I couldn't give his name. Yeah, like there's a few tracks I can play of like Nirvana's as well. It's just like I find it really weird. I don't know about you, but like because I've learned an instrument quite late in life. It blows me away that I can now play along with songs that I've loved for like 20, 30 years.
Yeah, I'm really funny with it as well because there's certain songs I can't learn because they're too sacrosanct to me. I think my favourite singer-songwriter is Paul Simon, and I some of his bass lines are obviously brilliant. But I just can't bring myself to learn them because it just feels like it's weird, isn't it? It is a weird one. I need to get over that so I can learn some of my more favourite ones. But yeah, I was trying to learn some Neil Young the other day, and it took me a while as well because he uses loads of different tunings and things, so it's a bit complicated for me.
Nigel Harrison as well. Is it Nigel or Neil Harrison from Blondie? Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, like.
And along with Clem Burke as well. What a rhythm section that is.
I tell you what, Clem Burke is. I think he's the best drummer ever. Like he's way better than Keith Moon, and Keith Moon is his hero. But like, you listen to that like intro to like Call Me, like I've tried to play it, and like nah, it's not happening.
He's like Keith Moon. I was going to say, but better. But he's much more structured than Keith Moon. He's not quite as mad, but he can still,
It's like Keith Moon without the drugs.
Correct. Yeah, I'll go with that.
But without the demons, I think.
Yeah. Blondie are great. I do like Blondie, and Chris Stein, of course, brilliant guitar player.
Oh God, yeah. I mean,
and Debbie Harry's not so bad.
Well, that's why I'm called Debbie, and that's why Dreamin' is Free is obviously from the track Dreamin'. So like, big Blondie fan here.
Dreaming is free.
There you go. So it's a tribute.
That's a tune.
Well, my favourite Blondie song's Shayla, which is on Eat to the Beat. It's an album track.
Oh yeah.
But for me, it's like, it's just stunning. It's like, it's a beautiful story. Like every time I hear it, I get like welled up. Like Chris Stein's guitaring is amazing. The drums are understated, and like Debbie Harry's voice is just off the charts. Like she goes really high at one point. It's like fucking hell, just incredible.
Yeah. And sort of bands around the same sort of time, the Banshees as well. I think Steve Severin, he's a big influence on me as well. His bass line are just so otherworldly.
But I love the like. Like modern bass players. Well, there's a band called Sophie and the Giants who like are friends of mine, and I see them as the natural successors to Blondie's Crown, and that's a big statement. But like every element of that band, they're just insanely talented, and like their bass player Antonia Pools, like she's a fucking sick player, and not only that, like she does backflips. Like she literally should be playing and she'll go up on her toes and she bends right back. She almost touches the ground as she's playing. Like it's just, I'm in awe of her. Like she's such a great player. And Flea, obviously from Red Hot Chili Peppers. He was. Creedence Clearwater, that's the bass player. You know what I mean now?
I do, but I don't know his name.
But yeah. But we could talk about bass players for like an hour and a half, couldn't we? It's supposed to be my mental health, so I'm going to ask you, like,
Macca as well, of course. He needs a bit of love.
Who's that? Sorry.
Macca.
Oh yeah, of course, Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's funny. Like I can play a little bit, and I'm trying to learn "Band on the Run" by like Wings.
Oh
Starts
yeah.
off really easy, but once you get like 2/3 into the song, and I'm like, I've only been playing 9 months. I'm gonna go back to that in a few months and see how much more I
Yeah.
can play.
There's only one song I've kind of rage quit at, which is because it was so damn hard, but it sounded like it should be a lot easier. Was "Hit Me with Your Rhythm Stick." That has got to be the hardest bass line I've ever even attempted. I think I got about a minute through, and that was it. I was like, I can't play this. This is too hard.
I think probably the hardest bass line that hardest bass line I've learned. I mean, I've got about 130, 140 songs that I've learned now. I think one of the hardest was "Kids in America."
Oh yeah, Kim Wilde, my
So
first crush.
fucking quick.
Yeah, no, she
Like,
was my first crush. I used to have a picture on my wall that I would kiss goodnight every night
oh.
until my mum was like, "You're 18, get over it." No,
Yeah, your
get out
wife's
there, get
like,
yourself a
take it
real
down.
girlfriend.
Oh, that's funny. Amazing. Yeah, like so like in terms of mental health, what's been your own journey with mental health?
Journey. I think I'm still on it and still not quite sure,
Okay.
as I'm sure we all are. But I think I was kind of diagnosed with depression when I was about 16, and it kind of rears its ugly head. It's a daily thing, isn't it? It's something that is with you all the time. But I think it rears its ugly head at particular times in your life, worse than others.
Mm.
So I've had particular times. I had a sort of mini breakdown when I was about 27 or so. And yeah, it's not been great this last year or so, but it's always there with you. So I think you kind of have to find a way to. I like to try and separate it from myself and see it as a different entity, that it's almost
Okay.
like almost like parasitic. I think you'll find, like with depression, it's always trying to isolate you. It's always trying to get you away from people who care about you and cut off all those connections. And I think it is quite like a parasite in that way. Like a
Yeah.
parasite will kind of consume you and try and take everything, take all your energy, take everything from you. And yeah, I mean, it's a bit tricky as well. I remember someone at work saying, "Oh, you can't be depressed because you can get out of bed," and that was their bar. But I think depression is, you can have kind of high functioning depression and
Yeah.
sort of be doing everything in life, but it's sort of, I try to keep positive, but it takes it out of me. It's like a battle.
Mm.
Every day is a bit of a battle, and sometimes it wins and sometimes I win. So that's how I try to look at it. I don't know if that's the healthiest way to look at it, but that's how I try.
Do you know what? Each person I asked him is a different answer, and like you're the first person who's explained it in that way. I can see why, potentially as a coping mechanism, that would help because it's separating it from you in a way that perhaps can make you look at it more objectively rather than be consumed by it. Is that why you
Yeah.
do it? Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of guilt around it, isn't there? Because you let a lot of people down when you're depressed and anxious and stuff. And um, you know, I've got a lot of guilt and a lot of demons and self hate occasionally. And so you sometimes have to. I mean, it's quite a cheesy thing to say, but I think one of the things that's helped me is when people say, try to treat yourself as you would treat someone else in the same situation.
Mm.
Would you talk to other people the way you talk to yourself? And it's very like I was brought up a Methodist and stuff, and I don't really have that faith anymore. But one of the things that I think about is when they say love your neighbor as you love yourself. I think everyone tends to see that as that you have to treat other people well, which is obviously true.
Mm-hmm.
But you can kind of turn that round as well and think, well, as yourself, so you should treat yourself with the same respect and dignity and kindness that you treat other people. And that's more of a difficult lesson, I think, sometimes to go through life. But yeah, I think music's been a huge help to me. I definitely write better than I talk, and I'm always very honest with my music, and it's almost like a diary looking back on it as well, which is quite nice. You can listen to your old songs and know where you were at that time and what you were thinking, what you were feeling. So
It's like a pinpoint in time that you're putting out into the universe, and once it's released, it's there. And people draw their own like meanings from it, don't they? Like
yeah,
Hurt by oh, Nine Inch
Nine
Nails,
Inch Nails. Yeah,
like basically about heroin addiction, isn't it? But
yeah,
like you can draw your own like in meaning from it, so like, it's quite a beautiful thing. Like as an artist, if you put something out there that talks about this, you know, other people will get a value in that. Definitely, I think it's quite a beautiful thing to sing about this sort of stuff.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's something. You know, we were talking about like liking lots of different music. I think the one strand that goes through all the music I like is that it's honest. I really like honest music. I like there's a singer-songwriter called Loudon Wainwright. His sons and daughters are probably more famous. They tend to
Rufus
call
Wainwright.
themselves yeah, and Martha and Lucy, and they're all singer-songwriters. He tends to call them the dysfunctional Von Traps, which kind of works. But he is brutally honest. There's some of his songs where it's just, they even make me sort of, you know, and I'm quite honest in my music, but I sometimes say, oh, should you say that in a song? But you know, I
Mm.
find that quite inspiring. And Jonathan Richman as well. I'm wearing my Modern Lovers t-shirt tonight. Jonathan Richman is another one who writes very much from the heart, and you know, there's no pretense with him. So I find that quite inspiring, I think. Although, having said that, I also love Bowie, who's the exact opposite. I tend to think my two favourite songwriters, you've got Bowie and you've got Paul Simon. And I love Paul Simon because he writes about the human condition, and he is so, everything he writes is really honest
Mhm.
and emotional and down to earth. Bowie, I love for the complete opposite reasons. It's just complete fantasy and art and, you know, ethereal, otherworldly stuff, isn't it?
It is totally. I mean, my friend shouted to say, "Be your best friend." I think that's a good comment. Definitely. So, what's
And
been your coping strategy when you've been struggling like the most? What's helped you to get through those difficult times?
um, I think I'm very much an introvert, and I think something that I've learned about introversion, because I've sort of looked into it a bit more, and it's very misunderstood by people. I think people tend to think of introverts as being antisocial, that they don't like being around people, this sort of thing. But I read about that it's actually to do with how you process energy, and extroverts take energy from external factors. So when they're with people, that gives them energy. Introverts get their energy from inside, so they almost have to top up. So what I tend to find is I love being around people. I mean, I'm a teacher, so you know, I wouldn't have gone into that if I didn't love being around people. But I have to recharge afterwards, because you give so much of yourself. You have to kind of have time to regroup and recharge afterwards. And I think understanding that that's okay. I think that's one of the things that I like about being a bit older. I used to really beat myself up when I was younger because I was so different and a bit weird, and didn't talk or act like other people around me. And sort of as you get older, you hopefully start to realize that that's okay. You know, it's
Mm,
okay to be an introvert. I think there's a lot of extroverts around who sort of try to make you feel bad about being introverted, but it's just different. It's not right or wrong to be either. It's just the way you are, you know, and that's okay.
completely agree. And like, I do worry for like the generation of people who are young now because I mean, I'm still young. I'm 48, but I still class myself as like young. But you know, we can compare ourselves to about a billion people now, whereas we used to compare ourselves to perhaps the schoolyard or the
Yeah,
people at work. Now it's the planet, or
yeah,
like an eighth of the planet, which is crazy.
yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, my last album was called Tulpa, and it was all about that, really. That we've almost got two selves now. we've got our true self, and we've got the self
Mhm.
that we project onto social media and
Mhm.
things like that. And it's almost like all these younger people, they're having to almost market themselves as a brand.
Yeah.
They're having to sort of put themselves up as a, and yeah, I took the idea of a tulpa. The tulpa's like, you probably know this already, but it's like a Buddhist thing of, um, it's like a projected self. I don't know if
Okay.
you've seen, like, Donnie Darko is a tulpa, for example, and
Oh, wow.
Harvey, the giant rabbit, that's a tulpa. It's the I nicked the idea from Twin Peaks. I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan. But it's this idea that we have all these various selves that we project into the world, and I kind of feel like we do that in modern life, and it can be quite unhealthy. Um, well, it can be very unhealthy, especially for, like you say, younger people when they don't
Mm,
know quite who they are yet. Um, to be having to get all that justification and
mm.
you know and
I
compare
mean,
themselves. And
hits of like oh, and what's the endorphin you get when you get gratification?
dopamine.
Oh, what? Yeah. So like you get dopamine from drinking alcohol or drugs, and we're giving kids you know handheld devices that they get a hit of dopamine when they get a like or a comment
Yeah,
or a share, and like we're just
yeah.
giving it to them. But I did hear something. I'm pretty certain it was BBC News, I think, but not radio. Radio, I don't watch telly. I fucking can't stand the news on the telly, to be honest with you. Um, yeah, they were talking about how young people are more sort of stepping away from social media apps, and essentially they're using encrypted chat, so like WhatsApp and Snapchat, but they're not using Facebook and Twitter and stuff. Like more like 16 to 24-year-olds aren't using it than were like say 5-10 years ago, and I can understand why. Like my daughter's 16 now, so she could be on all these apps. And I said, "Well, you're going to go on them?" She's like, "Nah, why would I? They're for old people."
Yeah.
But
Do you
like,
remember when we were that age and we used to think that anyone over 21 was like ancient?
oh god, yeah. And I
uh,
joined the army at 16, so like, yeah, like
yeah,
when I think back, it's fucking mental.
yeah, yeah, totally.
Someone's put Carl Jung masks.
Okay, I need to learn more about Carl Jung. I think, wasn't he the one that did more about uh, not like your psychology like Freud. It was more dreams and things, wasn't it? I think with Carl Jung. I can't remember. I need to read into it more.
I should really know because I've done. I've got an advanced diploma in psychology, but I can't remember. Like it was a
Yeah,
while ago now. But
yeah,
you mentioned Freud. I think Freud now, as Freudism, like I obviously it was the basis of psychiatry and the Western stuff, but like his data, if it was presented now, would be flawed because like it was such a small niche group,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
That like it
Jung
wouldn't be
fell out with
accepted by
Freud.
the academic community.
Yeah. Do you want to hear a good dad joke?
Connor.
I had a bit of a Freudian slip at dinner the other day. I meant to say to my dad, "Can you pass the ketchup?" And I said, "You bastard! You've ruined my life."
And it's a clean one.
Do you like that one?
Yeah, I do. Apparently, Carl Jung mastered about archetypes, collective unconscious. Jung fell out with Freud.
Hey, I tell you what, there's some clever lot of your listeners, aren't they?
Freud was spot on with defenses, but not much more. Lol.
Yeah. He said that we're everyone in our dream. I thought that was quite an interesting way of looking at things. Like when we're looking at our dreams and we've got different characters in there, it's more about who we are
Do you know
as
what?
people.
Like, I don't know about you, but like I dream in like I see life. Like I might sometimes see myself, but I don't experience dreams as other things. I'm always myself. Is that how you dream?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think this is one of the reasons, going back to Twin Peaks, why I love David Lynch's work so much, because I think his stuff is the closest to dreams and nightmares that how I experience them. I tend to think you know, like with the David Lynch films, some of it kind of it feels like it's founded on reality, but then
Mm.
it will go off somewhere. And that's what my dreams tend to be like. It'll be like I'm walking down a corridor in school, say in high school, and then I'll turn a corner and the environment will be from somewhere in my 20s, or it kind of makes sense but doesn't at the same
Mm.
time. It's a weird mixture. I do love Blue Velvet as well. That's one that someone's written down there.
Yeah, it's Sharon is my friend.
How'd you say it?
But yeah.
How'd you say your name?
Sharon.
Sharon.
Yeah, her name's Sharon, but like
Okay.
that's just her handle.
How'd you say the handle? It's an interesting one.
Slow.
Slow. Cool. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, let's take a slow.
Handles are an interesting psychological thing in themselves, aren't they? We could
I
talk
think they are.
about
It's like,
that.
yeah, I mean, I've got the same branding like across all socials, and like dreamindustry.co.uk is my website, and like I own the domain kind of thing. But like, yeah, that's more for consistency.
Yeah.
Ah, Sharon Louise White, that's what it is.
Thank you, Sharon. Thanks for tuning in.
That's clever. Thank you, Sharon. So it's like the first two letters and all her names.
Ah,
But
that
it
makes
does
sense.
slow sounds like taking it slow.
It's a portmanteau, is it, or something like that? Anyway. Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
cool. It's cool. I
It is
mean, you
very
always like
cool.
Tim Lee sings, isn't it?
Songs.
Tim Lee sings
Timely
songs. Yeah, yeah,
songs.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is what it says. It's very Ron Seal, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what it says on the tin, definitely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm never sure how to market myself or whatever. It's not something I find easy at all. And I always think my name is like rubbish as well because it's kind of over before you've said it. You sort of say on the phone,
Oh,
they say you, what's your name? And you go, Tim Lee. And they're like, what? Or they think it's one name or something. I remember
yeah.
an ex of mine, when we broke up, said, oh, why'd you have to be so Timly about it? She made me into an adjective, which I thought was quite funny.
That's flipping harsh.
No, that was all right. That wasn't too bad. She was quite, she was sort of saying you're being good about it, you're being nice about it or whatever.
Ah, all right, fair enough. I'll let her off.
Yeah. I've certainly had plenty of exes who've said a lot worse. Anyway, I had one that said, you're far too mental to ever be with anyone, which was a
Okay.
nice thing to say to someone.
Yeah, she's
Um,
put as cool as in Stanley. So there you go. You could say you're related to Stanley.
Thank you very much. Do you know what's really funny as well? Both of my stepkids, one's called Stan and one's called Molly. So if they had my last name, they'd be Molly Lee and Stanley Lee, which
Amazing.
just wouldn't work. Although Stanley did all right, didn't he? With that name.
It reminds me of that song. Like, there's a song my mum and dad used to sing when I was little. It's a banjo song. I used to go, I little to play my little banjo. And like, that song's just come in my head now when you said that.
What is that? Is that a different language? Or is
No,
that
it's
just the
like
way you're singing it?
they're just singing this song about a banjo player. Like, and I
Go on,
can't
sing
remember
it
the rest
again.
of
That
it.
sounds good. That one.
It goes, I little to play my little banjo. Like, it's this really weird.
Oh, I see. So you kind of it's like a delay. That's really cool because it's like it's singing it like a banjo would play it. You know, like when you
Yes.
play a banjo, you do the down up stroke, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
That's quite clever actually. I like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have. Well, my family just know me. That's another story for another thing. So like, what would you say has helped you the most when you look back at your journey with your mental health and like all the things that you overcame in your coping strategies and all the rest of it? Is there anything that you could pick out that perhaps has helped you more than anything else?
It's a very easy answer, but music very much so. I think
Really?
one of my favorite times of the day is driving to and from work because it's the one
Mm.
time a day where you don't have no one's dependent on you, and there's no expectations on you, and you can just listen to an album and just be in the moment. And I don't feel like there's any other time of the day where you can do that.
Mm.
But yeah, I think music understands us better than we understand ourselves sometimes. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why I love, again, Paul Simon. His words made me understand myself so much better than I could have done,
Wow,
uh,
that's amazing.
and also, it's making you realize that you're not alone. And I think that's one of the things I would love to do with my music. If I could write songs that people listen to and think, oh, I feel like that too, then
Mm.
they won't feel alone. They won't feel, you know,
Mm.
that they're wrong to feel that way. And a lot of people sort of say, oh, why don't you listen to happy music when you're happy, or when you're sad? And I kind of feel like I'd like to listen to sad music when I'm sad, because it helps me to process it and to know that it's okay to feel that way and own those feelings. So there's certain
Mm.
songs, I've even got like a sad songs playlist on my phone that I listen to sometimes, and a happy one as well. There are some songs that I listen to and make me smile every time. I've got a recommendation for you, actually.
Go on.
If you get a chance, there's a Ella Fitzgerald live version of Mac the Knife, which isn't my favorite song or whatever, but what I love about it is she gets the words completely wrong, and then she just kind of starts making them up herself, and she turns this sort of failure into into better than it would have been in the
She
first
ad
place.
libs basically.
Yeah, and then she does this amazing Louis Armstrong impression as well. It's the best Louis Armstrong impression, because they were mates, her and Louis
Yeah.
Armstrong, and yeah, she does all these really funny lyrics that she just comes up with on the spot. It just reminds me that, no matter how bad it seems, you can always turn it around, sort of thing. It's really empowering, that song, even though it's really funny.
That's
Yeah, that's definitely worth listening to. I'll send you the link if you want.
Yeah, do definitely. I'm definitely interested. Like my friend said, you should listen to songs that reflect your mood. I
Yeah.
agree. Like when I'm feeling angry, like I don't so much now, but like in the few moments when I am angry, I'll go and I'll pull out Slipknot. I love the song Duality.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the video, but like the band are playing in this house, and like all these people come out of nowhere and they smash the shit out of this house.
Oh
But
yeah.
like it's so aggressive, the song, and I absolutely adore it.
Oh, that's like Rage Against the Machine for me as well. Very
Oh
much like
god, yeah.
their first
What
album.
band?
That is angry music, isn't it?
Yeah.
Uh,
I've learned Bomb Track. I haven't played these yet live because I'm not good enough yet. But I've learned Bomb Track on the bass and what other one? Bullet in the Head.
oh yeah. Bum 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 bum. I wish I had my bass here to play it, but yeah.
Mine's there behind me, and I'm not going to play it. I don't embarrass myself. But yeah. So you've explained what's helped you the most. How would you say that we could support other people who are suffering with depression or anxiety? Like how could we help them?
It's so difficult, because I think it can be so all consuming, and you can feel like you're totally on your own. I think just try to be around people that care about you and don't expect too much of you, and also, like I was saying before, be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself.
Mm.
It's very much a wave. When you're in the middle of that massive wave of depression, then you think it's going to be like that forever. You think this is it, this is what my life is going to be like, and you don't have any kind of. So I think just make sure that you cover the basics in that. Don't expect yourself to solve it when you're in that. Just try. It's like that Maslow hierarchy of needs. Make sure
Yes.
that you're eating. Make sure that you're looking after your basic needs, and the rest will come when you can handle it. Don't try and solve everything when you're in that place, because it won't work.
That's great advice.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good advice, but and yeah, just don't be afraid to talk to people about it. I'm always surprised that the more people I admit that I have mental health issues to say, oh god, yeah, I'm on that medication, and you think, oh my god, I would never have expected you to. And that's the thing, we all have our ways of masking it, as Carl Jung would say. Open up and talk to people about it. You'll be surprised how many people will understand, I think.
I mean, what struck me, like I started doing this series for Mental Health Awareness Week last year.
Oh yeah.
I think because of like the impact that it made on me personally, and like the levels of discussions that I was having I'd never had before, I thought, you know what, it doesn't mental health doesn't just affect people 1 week or 1 month of the year, it affects them, 365 days of the year.
Yeah,
So I think it's important to continue the conversations. That's why I've done these as regularly as I can when guests allow it and stuff. But like one of the things
yeah,
that like blew me away when I was researching the statistics, like you talk about like the more that you've shared your experiences with mental health, like the more people have like shared their experiences with you, like with medication and stuff. Like 7 to 8% people in the UK meet the clinical diagnosis criteria for anxiety and depression. 7 to 8% of people in the UK. That's in itself is a staggering statistic.
I think we need to look at why that is as well. That maybe there's something in that. If there's that many people who are undergoing anxiety and depression in the way we're living, then maybe the way we're living isn't right, as a society. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
If you look at politics, has a lot to do with it, and I think that if you look at Wales, like I don't know if you've heard this, but there's a county in Wales that they're going to do a pilot. In I think it's Denmark. I might be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong. But they pay everyone gets a minimum living wage or like an allowance to make they have the basic like minimum living wage to look
Yeah.
so that they're not like struggling. And
Yeah.
as a county in Wales is going to do it to see what impact it has on the community and health and everything else. And if the pilot's successful, they're going to roll it out across Wales. It's like
Oh, brilliant.
you can't imagine sorry, nearly said the F bomb, the Tory government turning around and saying that, can you?
No. Well, the self-servitives, as I call them, they're just there's no money in that, is there, for them? So why would
They're
they? They just
vampires, aren't they, the Tories?
yeah,
But
very
like
much so.
sucking taxpayers' money and giving it to their mates, spaffing it to their mates, and taking the piss,
Yeah.
and they're untouchable.
I'm
Um,
trying to think. Is it Denmark as well? It might be. It's definitely one of the. It's definitely one of the Scandinavian countries that do the baby box as well. When people have a baby, they everyone in the country gets this box that can be made into a crib, and it's got all the things that they need for the
oh
baby,
wow,
like from the
that's
government.
amazing.
Which it's just about valuing your people, isn't it? Really, and showing that
It's,
value
and I
rather
mean,
than
if I had to pay higher taxes, but you know, buses were affordable, trains were affordable,
yeah,
um, streets were cleaner, and like people got paid. What you think about the those countries? They have like a lower suicide rate, they have a lower crime rate. Why? Because people don't have to go on the rob to feed themselves.
yeah,
They can afford to live, and like it's
yeah.
it's such a short-sighted viewpoint to say, well, no, people should be able to make a living. It's like I think it's a dangerous way of looking at people, and I would much rather have that kind of philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, pay a higher tax rate, but
Oh,
like
totally.
everyone has a fairer life. That's what society should be about, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we should be ashamed of ourselves as a country that we've normalised food banks.
Mm.
We've made it as a first world country to say that food. I can't remember who it was. It Michael Gove or someone said that it's an option for people. It shouldn't be an option for people. People should have enough. They shouldn't be starving in a so-called first world country
I
when
agree.
you've got billionaires everywhere. It's just it's shameful. It really is.
I mean, look at during the I think it was lockdown number 2 or 1, but Jacob Rees-Mogg was having a go at the UN because they were sending food parcels to kids in the UK, and then there
Yeah.
was all that debacle with the school meals and stuff. Like, oh, they've got a lot to fucking answer for. History's going to look back at this period of time with this governing body and see how shit they really were.
I hope so, because it just seems like no matter what they do, people just vote for them in their droves. I feel like you start to think that you're wrong because everyone just seems to keep voting for them no matter what they do. It doesn't matter how cruel they are and how, they're always seen as strong and stable, and they've tripled the national debt. They've anyway, we could go on and on about them, couldn't we? But we're here about mental health and music, so.
Tim, I just wanted to say thank you so much for sharing what you have. Where can we find your music?
Well, I try and keep the same handle on each one, like your good self. So it's Tim Lee Songs. That's LEE songs on everything apart from Facebook, where I'm Tim Lee Songwriter.
Okay.
I would love people to come and say hello and listen to some of my songs and see if they like them. I'm on YouTube as Tim Lee Songs as well, but my YouTube channel is full of some music, but also lots of geeky stuff as well. So if you're into retro gaming, classic films, all that kind of thing, I do reviews on that as well. So
I've seen you've been going through the PS1 games, like you were playing 007 the other day.
Yeah.
I used to have Ridge Racer, like on the PS1.
Great game.
It's amazing, wasn't it?
With that kind of drum and bass soundtrack as well. It's so 90s.
Yeah. My friend Sharon said
music. I just think of the PS1 straight away. Whenever I hear like Goldie or something like that, I'm taken back to that PS1 era.
I remember like the football games, the graphics were shit, but
yeah. But at the time,
they were
it was amazing because we were coming out of like Nintendo and stuff where it was all 2D, so it did feel amazing at the time.
I mean, Crash Bandicoot game that was the first Crash Bandicoot.
I still play that one. Love Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, great game.
My friend Sharon's saying, "Are you on Spotify?"
I am. Yeah. I don't actually have a Spotify account, but I am on. My music is on Spotify. Yeah, if you put in Tim Lee Songs, it should be on there definitely. Or Tim Lee. Just put in Tim Lee. I think there's a few of us though. I think there's some DJ called Tim Lovely or something. Which is quite funny because you could say, no, Love's my middle name, yeah. But no, there's a few Tim Lees, but I'm the one who's me. Yeah. So I mean, if you look for Tulpa, that's the right one.
Someone's put Ridge Racer rules, Tory fools. That's a lyric. That's got to be a lyric, right?
Yeah. Well, that is Jonathan Tarpley. He is definitely someone you should get on your show because he's a great singer-songwriter and really interesting as well.
Send me a message, Johnny, if you're listening still. And yeah, I'd love to get you on. But yeah, retro, and like the first Tomb Raider game as well. Like,
oh yeah,
classic.
Yeah, and Doom. I was a big fan of Doom.
I didn't play Doom on the PS1. Was it on the PS1?
Yeah, the crap out of me when I first played that. I think I was on PC though.
Films, like there was one where you were in a mansion.
Oh, Resident Evil, is it? Or...
Yes, Resident Evil.
Silent Hill was one of those.
That scared the shit out of me playing
that. Was proper scary, that was.
You had to do all those missions, didn't you? It's like, oh, you know. And you progressed like and get. It was almost like a Crystal Maze kind of theme.
Oh yeah.
Crystal Maze meets like a panic room, or there's rooms that you have to get out. You know what I mean?
Project meets the Crystal Maze. There's something in that, I'm sure.
Someone put Res Evil made me scream.
Yeah. Anyway, my battery is running out as we speak.
No problem. It's a good place to end anyway.
But it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope we can do this again. As usual, I've just waffled about absolutely nothing. But yeah, it's been fun. This is the first interview I've had in about a year. So hopefully,
hopefully the start of many more. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Tim. Thank you so much for your time.
Not a problem. Oh, and I'm just working on releasing a new album called Seven Sunsets, so that will be out very soon, hopefully. So
cool. Send it over.
Follow me on Instagram, and I'll play you some stuff.
Nice one. Take care, Tim. All the best. Thanks again.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.